Hi, everyone. Dr. Zimmer contacted me this week and asked me if we could do exceptions this week. He wanted me to do the lecture part of it and introduce you to them on Monday night, and I think you're all going to work on them again on Wednesday night. Right? So this is our lesson on exceptions. On the surface, this seems like something that you can have that you've been doing in programming since probably the first month. It's sort of a lot like validation that, enter a number between 100, 0 and 100, and somebody enters 123. You catch that and ask them to re-enter it. So don't confuse validation with error handling and exceptions. And that's what this is: error handling and exceptions. All right, here's a program, and I think it's the one everybody uses when they first roll out the idea of exceptions and exception handling. It's the divide by zero. You learned back in grade school, or at least early middle school, that you cannot divide by zero. And you know from your experience programming, the system will not let you divide by zero. So here's a simple program. I take in two numbers, two integers, num and divisor. All right, I have the user, I prompt the user to enter num and the divisor, then I divide. All right, as long as I divide by anything other than zero, you know that this is going to work fine. But let's run it just to see. I'm going to do two very clean numbers, make this 12 and 6, enters 2. That works fine. Go to run it again. I take 12 and I divide by 0. You see nothing's happening on the screen. And if I go back to Visual Studios, you find this nice little block that says exception unhandled. All right, it gives you an address and everything. Basically, they're telling you, as a programmer, you take care of this. The system shouldn't be taking care of this. This is just bad programming, letting the system take care of it. And that's going to be the case in a lot of things. Overrunning arrays, things like that. But some of it's just going to come down to numbers, basic validation. All right. But they're going to be handled as exceptions. But for right now, we are going to make sure that we don't pass our mistake along to the system. So I'm going to click out of this. I'm going to rebuild. All right, I'm going to blow this program out. And down here, I've got the alternative code written. A lot of similarities between this and the other code. All right, still int num and int divisor. But now there's three new keywords that you not need to get used to. They're try, throw, and catch. All right, there's no real magic to these. You always have to remember that after a try block is going to be a catch block. And inside the try block is just our code. We know that there's a chance for an error or an exception inside of this code, so we dump it in a try block. All right, I'm going to ask the same questions. Enter a number, and I'll enter num, enter divisor, and then I've got something different going on here. I've got an if statement, which you would put in if you were just trying to validate. If divisor equals 0, in the past, you would just say, please enter again in a while loop and go back and do it again. Now we're going to throw an error. Okay, we're going to throw error 9. This is like we're making a software engineer sheet to hand off to the user. Matter of fact, let's just call this, since it's user defined, let's call this error 999. Right? So if divisor equals 0, we're going to throw an error and it's going to be 999. Again, this is in the try block. Okay. If it doesn't equal 0, it's just going to skip by this and it's going to see out num versus divider. So that 12 versus 6 would see out 2, and this would be done. But if I did enter a 0, this is going to throw an error, 999, just an arbitrary number. We just made it up. And it's going to throw it, and down here we're going to catch it. Okay, we're throwing an integer, and this doesn't have to be integers. This can be other things, which I will show you in future videos. Okay, catch, we're going to throw it this 999. Then I'm going to see out. You've encountered error 999. You know, they're getting out the little booklet that you prepared for them that goes along with your software, right? And they can check 999, but we're going to still see out you cannot divide by 0. All right, I'm going to go ahead and run this. Enter number 12, just to show you that this still works. 6, that's good. Run it again. 12, enter, 0. You have encountered error 999. You cannot divide by 0. So we've caught the error. We've handled it. We've handled the error, the exception in the software instead of letting it make it to the system. All right. Again, the key parts of exceptions, and I know you're thinking we could have handled this in a validation. We've been doing that. You're going to find out that this is a lot safer, especially when you start dealing with classes. You know, you got multiple file classes. This is a lot safer. The key parts, again, are the try block. We dump the code that the exception might occur in. We dump it inside the try block. If the error happens, we throw our user-defined error, and the catch block, which is located right after the try block, does something with it. Int x, you know, we send it 999 and it sees it out. All right. Like I said, this divide by 0 is what everybody uses for their first example into error and exception handling. All right. I'm thinking there's going to be 2 more videos for Monday night. Please try to watch them. If there's something you don't understand, take the time to rewatch the video. The material's kind of straightforward. I think the biggest question on everybody's mind isn't what goes on or how it goes on. It's why are we doing this? So I think that'll kind of explain itself as we move on.